Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Marcus, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the changes which are coming to Cyber Essentials from the 26th of April 2021. Now, if you didn't know, Cyber Essentials has been around for many years. In fact, it was launched way back on the 5th of June 2014. As time progresses and the security of businesses is taken more seriously and more businesses implement their supply chains, they require certification. Now, we have seen more and more companies becoming certified over the recent years, and it's just escalating massively. Now, if Cyber Essentials didn't change and keep up to date and implement new things like that, the certification would get static, it would get old, and it would just be irrelevant. So, from the 26th of April, there's going to be some changes, and this is what this video is all going to be about. So, from the 26th of April 2021, the requirements for achieving Cyber Essentials will change slightly. Now, please note, however, for anyone undergoing Cyber Essentials self-assessment before the 26th of April 2021, you can still complete and still work on the old question set or the question set that you're working on at the moment. If you start taking Cyber Essentials out on the 26th of April and move forward, then you will be on the new questions and we'll go from there. So when you look at the new questions, you'll notice several changes which will hopefully make it easier to complete and understand what is being asked of you within the self-assessment. As part of the changes, there are now new definitions which are going to be used, and these are going to be pretty much related around bring your own devices and anything that interacts with business data or business services. So the first terminology is going to be a corporate VPN. If you didn't already know, a corporate VPN is a VPN solution that helps you connect back to the office location or to a virtual cloud firewall. And this must be, for Cyber Essentials, must be administered by the applicant, if I can speak the word out, the applicant's organisation, so that the firewall controls what can be complied. The next one is organisational data. Organisational data includes any electronic data belonging to you, the applicant. For example, it could be email, it could be office documents, databases, financial data, HR information, anything like that. The next one is organisational services. Organisational services will include any of the software applications that you use within the business. Now, this could be cloud applications, cloud services, user interactive desktops as defined by Cyber Essentials, mobile device management solutions owned or subscribed to your business. So pretty much anything that interacts with your business, anything that touches your business's data is included in the scope. Now, along with this, for example, it could be web applications, Microsoft Office 365, Google Workspace, MDM containers, Citrix desktop, VDI solutions, remote desktop or RDP desktop, and so forth. Now, the next change will be an update to bring your own devices, or BYOD. This update, along with the above definitions that we just mentioned, will help to explain what will be out of scope or what will be in scope depending upon your assessment. The new requirement for bring your own devices and to define whether or not there will be in and out of scope is defined as following. Mobile or remote devices owned by the organisation, user-owned devices which access organisational data or services will be in scope. However, native voice and SMS text messages or applications will be out of scope alongside multi-factor authentication usage. So pretty much, if you have a bring your own device or some type of device that is either controlled by the business or the user, it will be in scope for your self-assessment if it accesses the internet and it accesses business data. So if you have a mobile device that you have Outlook on, or some kind, or Gmail or anything like that, that accesses business emails or documents like that, that device will be in scope. Now, next up is software firewalls. Software firewalls is, as hopefully you know, has been part of Cyber Essentials for many years. You need to ensure that you have a firewall implemented which separates you from the internet. Now, previously there's a bit of confusion about this, where it said you had to have a border firewall implemented. Now they're changing it, so what they're saying is if you are in a managed office, or if you're in a coffee shop, or you work from home or anything like that, you don't have an office, you need to have a firewall on your computer. So there's no longer a requirement to say you have to have a border firewall that you manage and control within the office, because sometimes people don't do that. If they're working in a managed office, they don't have control to those firewalls. Now you only need to have a firewall on your host computer, Ideally, if you're working in an office, you'll have that firewall there, and then your host firewall on your computer. The next change is a name change. What used to be called patch management in that section is now called security update management. As part of this change, it is also expected that the user, will have automatic updates enabled on all software packages and devices where possible. So this has changed a little bit. So from where it's gone, you install security updates within 14 days. It's now really expecting you to install all updates where possible, especially if they're high or critical rated, within 14 days. The move has now gone more towards ensuring that you have updates installed for every application and every update. So enabling automatic updates wherever possible, installing all updates, all within the 14 days as well. The next section is all about user access control. This section has been expanded to include third-party accounts that have been had access to companies' data. So what this is about is, if you have a managed IT company in place, or you have some company that manages your IT or looks after your IT, you need to ensure that their accounts are managed and controlled by yourself. So you have the say of who can have access to your systems. You're ensuring that you've got control in place. So if they set up accounts to access your system as administrator, you have controls and policies in place to say, yes, we have this covered. This is what you're going to do, X, Y, and Z. So what we're trying to say is, if a managed IT company has access to your systems, they should have access and policies in place to say they will use two-factor authentication if possible. They will have timeouts. They will have controls in place to say that their IT people won't leave them logged into these machines all the time, and they won't have the same password for your company that they will have for every other company. So this is just trying to block and restrict the amount of lateral movement. If an IT company got owned or got compromised, if all their information got obtained, the last thing I want to do is get a username and password for one company and it works for all companies. And that is pretty much most of the changes. What you'll notice is, when you log into the self-assessment portal after the 26th of April, you'll notice that some of the questions have just been broken down. It's a little bit easier. There's a few little name changes, and in general it should be a lot easier to complete and a lot more self-explanatory. But as always, check our channel here to have a look at any Cyber Essentials related stuff. We will be pushing more content out for Cyber Essentials. Have a look at our blog site if you like for more information about that. You can just go, I'll put a link in below the video for that. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to put them in below the video. Like and subscribe as you do for YouTube, and then yeah, we'll go from there, and I'll see you next time.